Hi everyone, Armor King TV21 here, coming at you with a Halloween special for Armor King today, and it is how to properly apply Armor King's punch parry. Now, honestly, this is going to be more of a punch parry video guide, like a how to set up Armor King's punch parries. Now that we have that in order, I want to show you what moves that you guys are going to want to properly use in order to trick and or pull tomfoolery on your opponent. Now, what you need to know, first and foremost, Armor King's punch parry activates within 5 frames, and this is with both of his punch parries. Forward 3+4 and back 2+4 / 1+3 all come out all have a 5-frame activation. So if you are less than -5, your punch parry is not coming out. Meaning, like, if you're -6 and above, jabs beat all of those. We'll get into that just a little bit later. So we have a first contender move, which is down forward 4. Now this is going to be a go-to for people that like to jab check you. So, basically, what you're going to be doing here is you're going to be doing down forward 4 into a punch parry. Boom. Depending on what move they use, so let's say if it is a right punch or a left punch, for example, it actually varies on what one he's doing. So, this one is the left punch, further reach, and a different animation style. You know, example. This one gives better Oki. It's always been known to do that. But that is one of the go-to setups in terms of Armor King's punch parries. Now, you can do this into forward 3+4 here, but just know it's gonna be less consistent depending on the character. But yes, so yeah, you're going to have a very good one with down forward 4 there. Down forward 4 is -4 on block. Ah, there we go. Now this is going to be a typical back 2+4 setup. Boom. You can do back moves while you're in a crouching state. You can't do forward moves, unfortunately. So it's too bad, because that means you cannot do forward 3+4. But down 2 is definitely a go-to for that. Boom. Into this. Pow! Nasty stuff. So standing 3 is actually a very good one as well, because this actually sets up your forward 3+4 perfectly, and you can still initiate your counter hit tool with this method. So you can standing 3, 4, 1 for a wall splat, or you can standing 3 and forward 3+4 when you finally have your opponent jab checking. So more or less you're going to be doing standing 3, and you can just, as you can see, step your opponent, and you can get a dark upper. You can do all kinds of things with this setup by itself, but the same can be said for down forward 1. And with down forward 1, this is around the time when, if you get people pressing on down forward 1, you're going to get a whole launcher from it, but you can also just down forward 1 into a sidestep and then get yourself nice juicy damage. As you can see, you can do the same with forward 3+4 and get yourself a nice little wall splat. See that? Pretty simplistic. And it's up to -3. So you have plenty of room and time to mess around here. You have more frames than most people would have with a punch parry. So just keep in mind, standing 3 and down forward 1 are actually really good in terms of just using your forward 3+4 punch parry. You get yourself a nice 64 damage. It's a pretty good grip. And, you know, for the initiated, you're going to do this on a floor break stage into Tombstone Pile Driver and get yourself some real good juicy damage. You also have down forward 3 as a prime punch parry setup because this also goes up to -5. Now you have 1-2 as well. But these are prime moves that you can use as Armor King to set up a punch parry. And let me tell you, it's absolutely disgusting. I keep coming at you guys with these, but another good 10 frame trap is down back 2-4. Down back 2-4 does leave them at a bit more of a range, so you can't just use the regular punch parry. You could also finish this string too for jab checkers, but you do have back 1+3 / 2+4 for your nice punch parry stuff. You can do this against the wall and get yourself, again, another combo. 64 damage, good net. You can do that. Now, another thing to be wary about is your opponent's tendencies, like their patterns and how they respond to the way that you play. So, one of the main things to do is to have punch parry setups for these behaviors. So, another thing to do for Armor King is to have a punch parry setup for moves like back 1. Boop. While standing 3 is a great example of this. While standing 3 and while standing 4 share the same frames, so you actually can get away with a lot more with moves like forward forward 2. You can do while standing 4. You can do while standing 3. Like, geez, man, you can even do back 1 because you have just an extra 2 frames to work with. 7 frames is going to be your maximum against people who are using back 1. For other I-12, you have down forward 1-2. And this one is probably going to be the most frequent that you use to catch people from either jab checking or, well, not really jab checking, but from I-12 checking. So if in fact that you find your opponent trying to check you after this, a punch parry will be a decent option. So keep that in mind. That is something that you can certainly use. It's not going to be the be-all, end-all for but for 12 frames, up to -7, you're going to be fine. One string that I did find is 3+4-1 for those 13 framers. So it's going to be really good against kings that like to down forward 2 check. This is extremely strong against specific kings that like to down forward 2 check. Now, I want you to note that yes, you can go into Bad Jaguar manually from 3+4-1 forward, but it's actually not going to enable your parry. This is to prevent Armor King from being I think it doesn't actually build in a parry on the transitions from his moves. This prevents Armor King from being throw punishable from said moves. So let's say like Armor King does back 1-2 forward. King is not going to be able to tombstone me as a guaranteed punish because the Bad Jaguar parry only comes out from a from a specific frame window. If the opponent decides that they want to slightly even delay it, then they can get away with a lot. See, look, standing 4 is a great move as well to use for this stuff. See that? Standing 4, you can't even do 3+4. You'd have to do back 2+4 because of the distance. That's actually a common problem with Armor King, is the distance his moves are going to be putting him at for this punch parry setup. So, like, you're going to want to do moves like down forward 1 to catch jab checking opponents off guard. You can do 1-2 into forward 3+4. It's just like Armor King has a lot of viable options that he can use. So I want you guys to be able to make sure that you're doing these options. At -9, if your opponent tries taking advantage of the frames right there, the best that you can do is go all the way up to -8. -8 is your cap for 13 frames and above. So this is going to be your check. That's going to be your check for specific moves like down forward 2. Another good check I would say is Bad Jaguar 2. Now this is for 12 frames. So like let's say 3 hits here. There we go. Boom. Look at that. Up to the 7th frame right there, you can get away with a lot. But that's the highest frames in which you can actually get away with on Armor King. Up to -9 is where King is going, not King, but Armor King can actually push the limits at -9. But only up to -9 can Armor King, against King at least, can really make his punch parry shine. Now this is against like back 2 at the most. You're not going to get away with it on down forward 2ing Kings, but what you are going to do is get away with it on, like, let's say you're doing this into this, or you're doing this into this. These are going to be like super prime punch parry methods that you're going to use on your opponent. And so, like, you have forward 2, you have while standing 4, you have down forward 1, or not down forward, you do have down forward 1 though. You have 1-2, you have down forward 3. Like, Armor King has a plethora of options to use these punch parries and how you're supposed to go about using them when setting them up against your opponent. There are instances where you can use your punch parry against characters during strings. Now, I will show an example real quick of certain strings that Armor King can take advantage of. So, for example, this string, which is one you can sidestep right, by the way. This is a string that a lot of King players use, and you can simply either sidestep it to launch punish it, or you can punch parry it to call out the bad behavior. That's something that's pretty simple with Armor King that you can do with it. Boom, boom, boom. Okay? Let's try it out. See that? You can take advantage of the King player trying to pressure you near the wall with Jaguar Sprint 2. But if you are near the wall and they do Jaguar Sprint 1, you just got wall splat, bro. Like, there are times and places to use this. I'll show a couple more examples in which you use this against opponents' strings, or in general. Now, let's get into business. Reina here has forward forward 2 into Sentai stuff, right? And she has forward forward 2 Sentai 2. Now this is infamous right now among the Tekken community, that this is something that most Reinas autopilot into doing. So, in order to beat this, you do have your universal punch parries, in which can deal with these options. Now, you have plenty of options here, but you can also punch parry her both of her power crush punches. You do have to delay it, which is really nice because it works on the same timing. So, if you just delay it like I was showing before, you can actually get the timing down for when Reina is going to do the punches. And you don't even have to confirm the punches either, because Reinas often try to hit you with this, and if they don't complete the string either, you can get a whole launcher against Reina. You can also get a free tombstone pile driver. Another one that you could get is ISW, but that is frame perfect work. So, the reason why I'm telling you guys about this and why it's so important to know is mostly because Armor King here can take advantage of Reina's stance, but Reina has more options out of this stance to make this punch parry null. So, you really have to take into account that the Reina is more than likely going to use other strong portions of her stance. You can get away with this against a Reina if the Reina is very autopilot-y, but not against a Reina that actually can play the video game. One super prime example for you with Bryan Fury, and this is one that we're all too familiar with, and that is his hit confirmable down forward 1-2 string. Now, this is something that a lot of people deal with on block that you cannot move and or step against. See, this move is a little bit ridiculous. Can't move it, you can't do nothing. Except, Armor King can mash his punch parry between it and actually take full advantage of the Bryan player trying to pressure him. Or you can switch positions. So let's say that you are against the wall. Now Bryan is against the wall. Prime example of some advantages that you can take with Armor King. I mean, also if you're against the wall, you can giant swing here. Bow! 55 damage, man. 55 damage, dude. And this is not including, like, if this was regular Blue Spark Giant Swing, right? You're gonna get 70 damage. But this is a buttload of damage, right? From his punch parry. Look at this mess. Nasty stuff. Nasty stuff. So, yes, this was something I wanted to point out as a last thing. I hope you guys have a happy Halloween. Thank you guys for checking out this Armor King video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye! Happy Halloween, everyone!
Shout his name!
Armor King!